Spinnerbait.
There we go.
That's a big crappie. That's a big crappie.
There you go.
Eric, we're bass fishing.
I know.
You don't care. Whatever bites your bait, you're going to set the hook on, aren't you?
Grip it and rip it.
That's a big old crappie right there. I just happen to have a crappie rod tied on here. I don't know if I got one out. I might throw. There might be a bunch of those crappie right there. I might just see if we can catch a few of them.
So I went right back to it.
But back there where there was a few fish, there's a crappie right there. I'm fishing near Colgate, Oklahoma today with Eric Johnson. Eric's a buddy of mine that lives down this area. 5th generation cattle rancher and big time bass fisherman. And we're bass fishing actually, but Eric caught a couple of really nice crappie like that. And I just, you know me, I can't help but pick up my crappie magic and a little lucky skirted minnow on the back of it and try to catch a crappie. And sure enough, I did. I've been seeing a few fish on my live scope, and not a big bunch of them or anything. Just, you know, like 3 or 4 fish. I thought of a deep smoothie out there and had a few follow it. But if there's a bunch of crappie around, I want to catch a few of them just because I like it. But we're actually bass fishing. We're not crappie fishing. But Jimmy, if you're not crappie fishing, why do you have a crappie magic jig on there? Because you caught a crappie, that's why, Eric. 2 crappie. 2 nice ones, too. That's a good sized crappie right there. Crappie are right here under the boat. Look at the size of that crappie.
Look at that.
Look at the size of that guy. That's a pretty fish, isn't it? Look at him. That's a good one right there. Yeah, that's a good one right there. This was the kind I went to Fuquay to catch the other day, and I caught them that were like way, way smaller than that.
Well, that is a nice crappie.
That's a nice crappie right there. That's a big one, isn't it? That's some good eating right there. You want to carry home some fillets?
I'm all right.
Okay.
I just...
Because we can always keep crappie, I'm sure.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But that was an awful nice. These crappie are right in this little channel right here. The channel's about 9 foot deep.
Well, they want to see you catch fish. They don't want to see me catch fish.
Well, you had to show me where they were. I promise you, I'll go back to bass fishing in just a few minutes. Eric said, crap, I come out here to bass fish, he's up there catching crappie.
Figure you can catch them wherever they are.
Oh, I just like to catch fish, man. They all turn me on. There's one. That's crappie I'm seeing down there. That's crappie I'm seeing down there. Nice big old crappie. I just had to come back over here where we caught those crappie early this morning and see if I can catch a few. Just because I like it. Boy, that's a nice couple nice fillets right there. It's your lucky day, Mr. Crappie. I actually missed one before I caught that one. There's a wad of them right there. I mean, you can see them. Another one. That's a nice crappie there. I saw him come up and get it. I saw my jig, saw him come up and get it, Eric.
All right.
Looky there. I don't know if I got another crappie rod in there or not, if you want to catch a few of them.
Yeah, I didn't see that you had one out.
I don't know. That one's messed up. We can cut some line off of it. Look at there. God, it's a big old crappie. That is a big one right there, I'm telling you.
I'm just going to throw a little spinner on.
They'll probably hit. Well, they were hitting that big spinner.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them right here in front of. Oh, look at that crappie. He thinks he's a bass. Jumping around on top of the water. There is a wad of crappie here. Eric's fished this lake quite a bit, and he said he's never caught a crappie here. And doggone it, the first fish he catches today is not a crappie. And so he caught a crappie, and then he kind of ruined Jimmy. Jimmy had to has to catch these fish. When I see that many fish down there on my Garmin live scope, I've got to catch them. There's a lot of them right out in front of this tree and right out in front of that one. There's a lot of them right here too. Look at all of them down there. Look at all of them. We're getting in a bite. There's small ones. There's some really big ones down there. They might want that black and chartreuse. Might have to give you a black and chartreuse and put on there.
There you go.
Find him?
Yep.
Didn't know
Boy,
if it was
look
gonna,
at that.
That's a nice one there. I didn't know if it was going to hit that color or not. Well, he's hitting that black and chartreuse real good. There is a wad of crappie right here in this area.
Nice crappie.
Yeah, very good crappie. Very, very good crappie. Another one. These bigger ones seem to be right out in the middle. We're seeing a lot on that locator that are up close to the trees, and they sort of seem to be the smaller ones. And I'm seeing just a few isolated ones out in the middle. There's isolated ones out in the middle are the big crappie. Now, another thing that we're doing here, that's a pretty fish right there. Big old pretty thing. Another thing that we're doing is we actually have 20-pound test braided line. And we've got the 20-pound test braided line tied directly to the lure. Now, most people don't do that. They want to tie a leader on there, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, you're probably going to get more bites with the leader tied on there. But we've got this tied on directly. And one of the advantages of that, if you get hung up, you might be able to straighten that hook out with 20-pound test braid, and
there you go. There's one.
And not lose your crappie jig, not use your little crappie magic. That's another good one there. This whole little area right here, it's just got a world of crappie in it. Just
Hey,
got
come on. You got a live, do you need to fill the live well?
You want to keep a few? Yeah, right
yeah,
there.
I'll keep a few.
Here, I got another one coming in. It's going to go in there too. We'll need to put the, you got to thinking about those fillets, didn't you?
Yeah, I know, I really did.
Got to thinking about, oh my gosh, we've thrown away a really good fish.
We really had.
There's a little plug you'll need to put in it there. It's in the live well. Oh man, that's a big one right there. That's a nice, two beautiful fillets right there.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
There's one. You got one, I got one.
Heck
That's
yeah,
the way you
look at
catch
this.
them. Double up.
Look at that. That's the biggest one
Oh
we've
my
caught
gosh,
so far.
it is
I
the
think.
biggest one. Except for this one right here is going to be bigger.
I don't know. It's a pretty nice
I don't
one.
know. This is going to be bigger. Well, maybe not. Oh yeah, mine's bigger, no doubt about it. Mine's shorter, but he's fatter. Once you find these crappie, even if they're not really bunched up, once you find them, you can still really catch a lot because they're in the area. And with a live scope, you can move around and find out where they are. Now these crappie are moving around quite a little bit, and we're just looking for them on the screen, throwing out there where we find them. And then a lot of the bigger singles are just moving around the middle of this. There's a little channel coming right in through these trees. This little channel going right up through here. Now a lot of them are just moving around the middle of this channel. And they're in about 8 or 10 foot of water. Water temperature 68 degrees, 66, 68. It was 67 this morning. It's warmed up just a little bit, not much. There was a bunch of them just right in there. I'm not seeing hardly any out here in front of me where I caught that last one. And they're right there though. Right there are some. Yes, they are. Is that a little bass? Looky there. Looky there. I'm still bass fishing. What are you doing? Crappie fishing?
Yeah, I'm on the crappie now.
This little chunk.
There you go. There's another one.
And you turned into a crappie fisherman, Eric.
Yeah.
You thinking about those fillets for dinner? Yes, sir. I got in your hole over there, Eric. Put a couple more fillets in the. It's crappie. A couple of them might be some of them we caught and turned loose.
Yeah.
And they're saying, "What's the deal? We got
Yeah, I
turned
wanna get
loose." Y'all
cut up, too.
talk about it's your lucky day, and here I am going in a live well. What's the deal? We're beginning to get a box, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
I love it. I love it. Boy, look at all
There
of
we
them
go.
out in front of the boat. Holy moly. Look at all those crappie. Look at the one coming in the back of the boat. You can see that one good. That little hole right there had a ton of them in it. There's a big bunch of them out right there too. They're hitting that black and chartreuse a little
They
bit
really
better
are
right there.
hammering it.
Little skirted minnow. Lucky skirted minnow. Oh, I missed one.
Let's see if this one. Yeah.
I went back. Hey, I dropped back down there and caught him. I missed him and dropped back down there and caught him.
But then,
Come here, baby doll. Come here, baby doll. You get to go to the party. And you are the guest of honor. Yes, you are. We're working on live well number 2 now.
yeah. Okay.
There is a wad of crappie right here, man. I mean, a bunch of them. Yeah, we have put several of those fish we were seeing on that locator in the box. In the box, in the box. There's one. Dead in the middle. Dead in the middle. Oh, yeah, God, boy, there's a lot of nice ones, too. All right, buddy boy. You get to go with your friends. Yes, you do. That's the thing about crappie when you locate them, and that's the thing about that Garmin live scope, you know. Boy, you can see them.
What are you seeing right now on your scope?
That's just that tree right there in front of us.
Okay.
There's some crappie in it. You see those things that kind of look like they're pulsating a little bit in the tree? That's crappie. Now, of course, that's not real deep. We could probably jig around that tree maybe and catch them, but so many of them are off out here in the middle, away from the trees. Us moving around in here might be moving some of them back in the trees too. Running the trolling motor back and forth. I had them at, you caught bass and white bass and crappie and bluegill. Actually, channel cat counted also. But
So it's just whatever you brought in?
Yeah. Oh, look at this, a little tiny one. It's a little too small to fillet here.
Yeah.
We've thinned out a lot of the big ones in this little area right here, though. But I guarantee you there's plenty of small ones to replace them. No doubt about it. Well, he is hooked. I mean, he is hooked big time. Nah. I was about to think they wasn't going to bite that little sickle tail. Same color. Then one did. Bass in it, big old white bass too, 2 pounders, 2.5 pounders, and I couldn't find any. I was up there practicing looking for them. There he is, there he is. That's a little bigger. That's 2 fillets right there.
There you go.
Oh, this might be bigger than that giant you caught, Eric. I don't think so. Oh, I don't know. He's pretty big.
That's it. Boy, that is.
Oh my goodness! Look at the size of that crappie. Goodness sakes alive. You're gonna taste mighty good. Mighty, mighty, mighty. That was right there in your old favorite hole right there. I think us moving around out here in this 8, 9, 10 foot water with the trolling motor is causing the crappie to move around. So we're just kind of having to follow them wherever they are. And when we see them, oh, I lost that one. That's a good one too. Bass fishing was a little bit difficult today. We caught quite a few fish, but we was having a hard time catching quality fish. We'd get one every now and then, but one of the things that we did was we caught a few fish, a couple of fish, crappie, on a spinnerbait. Caught them on a red man spinnerbait, and that really changed kind of what we was doing for quite a little while. In the middle of the day, we started crappie fishing, and one of the things that you want to do is you always want to be ready to catch crappie when you're bass fishing. Some of the very best days that we've had crappie fishing was when I'd catch a bass or two on a spinnerbait or on a crankbait or maybe on a worm or a little jig head or something, and just stop and pick up my baits. But now, how do you pick out what kind of color you're going to use for crappie? Well, crappie normally like pretty bright colors, so we like chartreuses, we like reds, we like whites, you know, something that looks like little minnows or little shads. It's a really good color right here. This is a lucky minnow is what these are. And they come with a lot of different tails on them. But more often than not, I will go with something that's got a black and chartreuse on it. A black and chartreuse with a black head or a chartreuse head. And the reason I do that is because black and chartreuse is an excellent, excellent bass fishing color. Now, we caught most of our crappie today on this little black and chartreuse skirted minnow. It's had a little skirt on the back of it. And but when you go with this, you've always got a chance to get around a bass to catch a bass. We caught a couple, 2 or 3 bass on it today. We didn't catch any big ones while we was crappie fishing, but black and chartreuse is always a pretty good color to go with. But anything that looks like a shad, you see my colors in here. I got some really bright colors, pink for really, really clear water, red chartreuse, a lot of bright colors, but that's not bright color, but that's a color that you can go with, black and chartreuse. You've always got a chance looking at that bait to catch you a big bass while you're catching a mess of crappie. And believe you me, we got a mess of crappie.